So,
This meeting is being recorded.
there we are. I think we should start. Welcome,
Yeah.
everyone, to our Online Pathways Guide final webinar, but it won't be the last time that we will speak, I'm sure. We'll be seeing things in newsletters, like people who get their face on the back of the Toastmasters International newsletter, or they're flitting across the world getting books signed. I don't know. There's all sorts of things happening out there. And today we are gathering together to hear some of your stories, to also finalise what we're going to send through to World Headquarters for our recommendations. And thirdly, we will also have a discussion about how we might have any ongoing support for District U. So that's 3 things we're covering today, and there'll be 20 minutes each. Now, Michelle, I know that you're going to do the second part. Can you time the first part?
Sure, and I also time the second part and the third part. And I'm
brilliant.
obsessive with timing. I can't help it.
That's good. Thank you very much. Welcome to Mark, who's just joined us.
I hope you time also the table topics.
Mhm.
Yes, because Julie will want those contained within a short space of time. And welcome, Mark. Do you want to test your mic?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everybody.
Thank you
Hi.
for joining us. That's great. Did you capture the 3 things we're going to do today? Table
I
topics,
did.
recommendations, ongoing support. Okay. All right. Let's make a start with table topics. Julie, take it away, please.
Welcome to everyone. We had a fantastic adventure, like guides for District U. And in my Pathway DTM project, I am trying to gather as many possible stories about our experiences as we can. In every place, in France, separately, in between guides, between onliners, and so on. We had already a few stories, and we had seen that table topics, which I call pathway topics, are the best because they are short and everyone can speak a little bit and tell their adventure. So I will begin to ask questions separately for each of you. And I would like you to tell us, and I will tell a few questions before, but then I will ask one by one, your best memories, your worst memories, your most memorable adventure, when you felt I did it, when you had to fight the most, and so on. So let's begin with Cate. Cate, tell me, when you felt the best that you did what you wanted to do during your pathway guide journey?
The most meaningful and touching part of my Pathways Guide was to be the Pathways Guide for a club in Lahore, Pakistan. It is a new club. They only started last February, and they're 20 teachers at a school in Pakistan. So here I am reaching out through I call it the electronic existential world, the EW, as I'm sending emails in one direction, not having any idea what the culture that I'm sending it to, how people are going to interpret what I'm saying, and how am I going to talk to people that are literally 12 hours away from me. They are half the planet away from me in Pakistan. And I find out they're teachers, we start talking, and it's been so touching to help them learn And again, to me, it's amazing that I can be talking to people in real time, half the world away.
Thank you very much. Brian, can you tell us something about your pathway guide experience? Which was the worst or the best?
I will tell you about the one that sticks in my mind is a presentation I gave before I was in Pathways. I was given a presentation about Pathways in front of no less than the Toast Mentors of District 21, which is an advanced club of, there were guides in there, ambassadors, and everybody else in there. And then and this was about 2 months before I came into Pathways. When I did get into Pathways at the same time, well, a few days later than Julie, because she paid for an extra month, and got in there and started to find out what was in Pathways. I was 90% right in what I had gleaned out of the internet. I didn't have any advanced, I wasn't an ambassador or anything. I didn't have any advanced information other than what Toastmasters was putting out and what I found on the internet. And that, to me, it gave me a good feeling when I gave the presentation. It was about 15 minutes long. It was a slideshow, and it reinforced that I was learning what Pathways was all about. And I think this is the greatest thing that Toastmasters has done in over 100 years, considering they didn't get started until 2005 or 1905. Back to you, Mathilde.
What was the club or the meeting you had to fight most to achieve? And that goes to Mark Snow.
Mark isn't with us right now. Would
No.
you like me to take that one?
Yes.
Okay. One of the clubs that we had the most trouble with was one of the African clubs. And I had touched base via WhatsApp because that was their favourite tool. And we'd arranged to meet. And I met with one person who was the leader, I think the VPE of that club. And then we heard no more. So Christian and I got together and we thought, well, we'll try something else. We'll try to capture their attention and give them one more shot. And we planned it. And I was at a convention, so I had to step out of the convention, speak to Christian, and I'm in a corridor somewhere in this convention building trying to hold a meeting. Christian and I were there, but they didn't turn up. So it felt really odd because you put all of this effort into place and you don't know why they didn't turn up. So that to me was a disappointment, but it taught me a lesson. It says, don't assume that just because you've set the meeting that they are going to come. Very often something else will happen. And I found out later from this guy that he had been away on holiday. He'd forgotten all about that. And here's me thinking, oh, maybe he's got caught up with all of the terrible problems that they're having in that part of Africa at the moment. But no, he had not remembered the meeting. And at this point, we were way down the track. You know, this is way too far down the track. So it didn't happen, but we still have contact with them so they know that they can come back. Back to you, Julie.
Thank you. What was your most memorable moment as pathway guide? And that goes to Mathilde.
My most memorable Pathways Guide experience was one of the African clubs And here I had a really good welcome, and I had the impression that I was having a trio there who were trying to support me. There was one person they had in advance made there for technology issues. Then there was always the president in the back, and they were really coordinating everything. They were already welcoming me they were teaching me some of their words in their language. They already had gathered lots of information. They had made out a person who will be the first one who will go on pathways, and this person will go forth and back with me. And this was really wonderfully prepared, and I remember this as very welcoming, as very fruitful relationship working there. This was really great. Yeah. Back to you.
When you felt I did it, and that it goes to Samir.
I did it! Finally, I've made contact with Alexandria Toastmasters Club. My goodness, I'd been hearing about this club for years. I'd met the founder of Cairo Toastmasters, and he had told me our best member moved to Alexandria, and she started another club in over there, and it's doing really well, better than we are, in fact. I said, I want to meet this club. And finally, the founder reached out to me and was very excited about Pathways. Many of the clubs that I visited, it was with a founder that I had made the contact with, and it was their baby, you know? It was their child. They were very paternal about the club itself and the officers, also acting as a mentor. But it was that experience with Alexandria Toastmasters Club that I felt was just, finally I'd connected. And not only did I connect, the team was absolutely incredible. I happened to be, have scheduled that one while I was still at work, and I was in the city of London. You could see St. Paul's Cathedral through the window behind. And when I spoke to them afterwards, and they were very appreciative, and I was really amazed at how they were taking it on, and they had done their research and had real questions that I could help them with this visit. But when I spoke to them later, I was sorry, apologetic. I went a little bit over time, and they said, yes, the sunlight in the background where you were was a bit deceptive because it was much later where we were.
Thank you very much. Carole, just before I continue, there is Scott and Muffed here still. May I ask them both? So
absolutely.
Who is here speaks.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I would like to ask Muffed now.
Yep. Go ahead.
About his most memorable pathway guide experience.
Well, if you can hear me well, in fact, I would never forget the day when I was visiting Jordan. And it's my usual thing to find a club to attend a meeting whenever I go. That day, I got an invitation from one club to attend, and that was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I made it before time. I was surprised I did not find anybody in the club. I asked the reception where the meeting was held, and they said this club meets, in fact, tomorrow, not today. But there is one meeting will happen 5 o'clock. And that was another club, in fact. And I waited 1 more hour in the library they are reading until the crowd came in. And I was surprised that that club was for ladies only. And I was welcomed, and I was asked to give a presentation or something about pathways. Just imagine the situation. I'm coming from Saudi Arabia, where all women are covered in black and everything and so. And a couple of about 22 ladies, I was the only male in the hall. Can you imagine? It's unbelievable. However, without really getting prepared or being prepared for the meeting in that way, I had a good presentation, and they were really good surprised of the information that I could give. However, I was sweating all the time, but at the end, I made it. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. Now, for Scott, can you tell your most memorable story as guide?
Thank you, Julia. I certainly can, or I can attempt to. One of my clubs was in Pakistan, Lahore University, all university students. And when I put my feelers out to organise a visit, I got emails back straight away. Emails went forward and back, and I thought, this has got to be too easy. Surely there must be some hiccups along the line. But that club was so organised, and even when I managed to organise a time to speak to them, they were so enthusiastic about pathways. They were like big sponges that just wanted to sponge all the information, and everything ran very, very smoothly. Apart from, we had a few technical problems. There was the first one I had, but being university students, they were right on song, and they tweaked things and twisted things, and we ended up having a great meeting. So for me, that was extremely memorable because it was the first one I had, and they were so conducive to wanting to hear about pathways that they emailed back and forward, and they were just brilliant. If I could wish anything be running so smoothly, this bunch of university students in Lahore, Pakistan, they were just brilliant. They really just wanted to know all about pathways. They wanted to know as much as they could, and it was a great experience, very memorable, and I remember it just like yesterday.
Thank you very much. Let me just tell 1 minute about my experience. I don't know why you are still there instead of me on the middle, but I don't mind, Scott, to be there and I speak. I got that club which called Kwanzaa, and that was the first club in Kenya. I had a lot of fight to go to them, and finally, when I got to Kwanzaa, I think someone put Scott on the screen, main screen, and
Julie, you've probably got speaker view. Change it to gallery.
Yes. So when finally I had a meeting with them, my first meeting, and all the club were there, I wrote in my blog about them. And then, what happened? I misspelled their name. And instead of Kwanzaa, which means first, I put Kwanzaa, which means something completely different. But I very fast changed that. And then this morning, I got this message from them. VP writes me, over 80% of our members are now enrolled in Pathway. We are 75 in total. And your guidance was very welcomed. So I was very happy to see that, of course. Unshare. How can I unshare now? My screen.
You should see a toolbar somewhere with the unshare. There you go. Well done. However, you've muted yourself in the meantime.
And that is Michelle. So, Michelle, what was when you felt, now I have done it?
Thank you, Julie. That's a difficult question because so many times I felt, now I have done it. So I will respond in terms of the one that I'm enjoying the most. And it is the Baghdad Toastmasters, Baghdad Elite Toastmasters. They were being chartered. They had not yet been chartered. And I kept on hoping that they will charter soon. And indeed, just I think a few days before the rollout, they were officially chartered, or a couple of weeks. They're how do I explain it? They are a very fun group, and they immediately added me to their chat group, and most of the time they speak in Iraqi, so I don't understand. But I would constantly post questions in English. Who has done their icebreaker? Who has any issues? And then we had a little contest on who would be able to finish level 1 first. And even just this morning, now we are talking about having a table topics theme. So it is just so much fun. I feel like they feel like I'm a part of their club, and sometimes they forget and they speak in Iraqi, and I'm like, oops, guys, English, please, English. And it's a wonderful relationship, and I have told them that for as long as they need my help, which is indefinite, then I will be there. And it's just a wonderful experience.
Thank you very much, Michelle. All our guide activity has taken you, as you see, everywhere in the world. And I hope that you go to your clubs back and ask them to do pathway table topics. All of them.
Thank you so much, Julie. Thank you. That was wonderful.